this weekend, my wife and I had a client session up in Gloucester. So we're up in northern Massachusetts over by the water, a couple hour session. And after that, we ended up grabbing a dinner, which I did use that card to pay for dinner. And so, based on my assumptions, because we're there for the business reasons we needed to eat anyways, I'm under the conclusion that that is an okay expense. Did I make the right call, or do you think I have to be very careful here how I'm doing this?
No, that's the right call for a sole proprietor for a business. If you're on the road, the business is considered the meal is considered a business expense at that point. Where people get in trouble is 7 meals a week that become business, and that's usually not
Yeah.
the case at that point. But if you're doing it once a week, maybe twice a week, that is acceptable. It's if you bring in the kids and you bring in your in-laws and your parents and things like that, it starts to become a little bit more gray at that point to say that that's a business expense. But
Yeah.
if you guys are on the road doing business related stuff, any expense that is business related again is going to be a business write-off. So a meal, if you grab something because you're on the way to the client's site and you grab something on the way, that is considered a business expense. It's the minute you come home and you grab some food for the kids and you grab some food for someone else at that point that is not business related, that's when the IRS will step in a little bit and say, hey, this doesn't quite make sense. Ultimately, the easy rule of thumb is, again, if you're on the road doing business, it is a business expense. And the IRS just likes to keep the receipt so that you can document what you did at that meeting, what you talked about. It doesn't have to be the entire 60 minutes with your significant other that you're talking about business. It could be just a couple minutes, but usually most times that's going to be a subject, especially if you're on the road, doing something business related. That's going to be the topic of a recap or something that you're kind of pre-playing to say this is what we want to do and what we want to accomplish in the session that we have. So it just makes it easier that way, just to kind of document that stuff a little bit. It doesn't have to be a narrative of 53 minutes of this discussion, full 4 minutes of this. It just has to say we talked about the planning for the session and what we did. And again, if you have that in your business account, you'd have potentially some miles, some other business expenses that you'd be taking, especially if you have to stop and pick up an item that you'd have to bring along to help with that session. So anything again business related that you're talking business or working business related is much easier to justify as a business expense, except just swiping the wrong card when you go and get ice cream with the kids or something. Then that's when the IRS is going to step in and say, wait a second, this doesn't make sense. And
Yeah.
that's not a valid business expense.